The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas and critical opinions in Southeast Asia.
Hi, welcome back to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. You are with Grace at the Durian Heat.
And this is Gauri joining you here this morning.
So today we'll be discussing one of programs that was organized by Magic, which is called E at Stanford. It is one of the Magic's global programs which provides a platform for high potential local startups. It's an additional boost to grow their businesses to the next level. And of course, today in our house we have invited three speakers today. Our first speaker is from Magic. His name is Han. He's a director of global and regional program at Magic, and he's here to discuss global and regional programs under Magic, which we will be discussing, particularly the E at Stanford program.
Good morning.
Hi everyone, Han here.
Also, we have two selected E at Stanford entrepreneurs for our interviews this morning. Her name is Nuraizah Shamsul Baharin, who is the managing director of Madcat World, and also Cheah, who is the founder of Firegent.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Great to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for participating. So let's start with Han. Could you briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Han. I'm the program director in charge of all the global and regional programs in Magic. So global and regional programs consist of all of the programs that the objective is to expose our Malaysian entrepreneurs at the regional and global level, so that we can help them to establish network with potential investors or partners that they could work with in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So this program, E at Stanford, is part of what we run here in global and regional programs. It's part of a 3-year collaboration that we have with Stanford University.
Mm-hmm.
So every year we run 3 different programs. I will briefly describe each one of it.
Sure.
The first one is called the Stanford Go-to-Market program. It targets 2B entrepreneurs who have an idea, who hasn't really launched their product or service yet, and needs help to validate their ideas and come up with a business model that would be sound for their idea.
Mm-hmm.
So that is called the Stanford Go-to-Market program, whereby the Stanford professors will be coming to Malaysia to run 1 week worth of classes. And then the second program is the one that we are talking about today. It's called the E at Stanford program.
Yes.
Yes, and the target group is slightly more advanced as compared to the first group. We are looking at entrepreneurs who have already launched their products and services in the market and ready to be exposed and get to the next level. So we bring them over to Silicon Valley for 2 weeks for this immersive program called E at Stanford program. And last but not least, the third program is the Faculty Train Faculty program. So the target audience is completely different. It's targeting the university faculty members. They will be getting guidance and also coaching from the Stanford faculty on how to teach entrepreneurship differently, and also enhance how the student engagement activities are done in the local university, so that we can encourage more students with entrepreneurial thinking and think about venture into their own startups upon graduation.
So when it comes to entrepreneurship in Malaysia, what is the status so far, and how are all this younger generation have been accepting this term called entrepreneurship?
I would definitely say that it has been very encouraging in the last 1 year. We definitely see an increase in interest in terms of the people who attended all of the startup communities events, and also people who expressed interest in validating the ideas and actually executing it and starting their own businesses.
Mm-hmm. So before we go on further into entrepreneurship and also to talk about the programs, let's have a conversation with our two participants here. So Aiza, could you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yep, sure. Thanks, Grace. My name is Aiza. I'm from Madcat World. What we do is we build a mobile application, and one of our focus market is in Islamic content.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. So you said you focus on the Islamic content. Perhaps could you elaborate more on that?
because we offer a broad suite of products. So when we look at Islamic, we're not teaching the religion, so it's more a lifestyle concept. So we're talking about things like mobile applications, we've got a social media side, we've got services that we run with the telcos. So it's a wide range of products. And then what we've come to see through our at Stanford experience is that we've got so many things happening, and some of them are freemium products, but we're not monetizing it.
Right.
So then, so through this experience, and I guess from the benefit of talking to all the mentors that we met there, they gave us all very quick, simple, and I think exciting ideas to try out to see how we can monetize the leads that we currently have, and to monetize the people who are already with us experiencing the content.
Right. It's amazing that within 3 years, Madcat company has over about 800,000 downloads in the 201 countries.
Yeah, right now we have 1.2 million. Actually,
wow, that's a lot of yes.
Yeah.
So, how is it like to run this startup company and to be able to engage with all this community so far?
It's been really fun. I think it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, I think, and I've never regretted it. So I think it's something that, because being in the mobile industry too, it requires that you keep evolving your product, because one app lasts maybe 3 months, and then you have to keep moving on with whatever is new, and then think about how else to engage people. So that's the thing that we saw, and then we saw that companies in the US, what they focus on is actually making a difference in their community. So that's the basis for their ideas and do. And then if we focus on that, making an impact, and the money will come.
Right, that sounds great. So let's go on to our next participant, Jay. How about your experience, and could you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi, I'm Jay. I'm the CEO of Firegent. Basically, we are a B2B company. What we do is basically we make it really easy and convenient to convert documents into structured data that can be easily automatically feed into various software like accounting systems, business intelligence, and ERP systems. So, and basically, Magic has actually created an incredible program for at Stanford.
Right.
I think it's a program where it was able to merge the experience of learning from incredibly smart and experienced people at Stanford, and at the same time, talk to the founders of startups in the heart of Silicon Valley to understand, their experiences, their anguish, their successes, and I'm just incredibly honored to be part of that program.
Wow, that sounds really incredible indeed. Well, before we go on to more details, Han, I have a questions for you. When Magic launched this program at Stanford, what was your expectation? I mean, it just ended in August this year, right?
This is the second time that we are running it.
Right.
So Aiza and Jay are part of the second cohort that went this year.
Okay.
So we started off with the first batch last year. We went in November 2014, and it was a larger group. About 57 entrepreneurs went with us last year, and this year we have 40, representing 22 different startups. So the expectations that we have out of this program is really to expose our entrepreneurs, the mindset, how things are run differently at the global level, and we want to encourage them to think big, think outside of Malaysia, think outside of the Southeast Asian region. See how, because I think one of the prevalent themes that we see in the Silicon Valley community is that whenever the entrepreneurs pitch, they right away think about their target market as dominating how many % of the world market. They do not limit themselves as in, I'm just looking at the US market. Okay. So we want to encourage our entrepreneurs to really challenge themselves and their ideas and believe that they can actually make it big as well.
Right. So before we go on to our next conversation, let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the details of the at Stanford program.
The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas and critical opinions in Southeast Asia.
Welcome back to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. We are at the Durian Heat with Grace.
And this is Gauri.
And of course, we've been speaking with three wonderful speakers to our participants at Stanford. And of course, one is from Magic. His name is Han, who's the director. So let's ask to our dear participants who were there for about 2 weeks at Stanford. So I want to ask Jay first. Jay?
Yep.
So what was your experience like when you were there for about 2 weeks at the Stanford, and what are the challenges as you started your own business?
I think one of the experience that I had, when I was there at the program is the experience that you just have to be there to feel it. And one of the things that I learned anyway is the concept of paying forward, and it's a concept that I think that really makes what Silicon Valley works, and it's a concept of basically helping others without expectation of any returns, and basically you can meet someone and they will be willing to just connect you with the person that you may be interested to talk to, or probably can get some advice or anything without any hesitation at all. And it's a concept that kind of the one that kind of like I look at it as a petrol in the engine, where you need to pour that into a society, where to get the whole concept of networking running. And it's an incredible experience, because you can basically meet a stranger and you start talking, and it was like, hey, I think you can talk to this person, and they just connect you. So I think that's just incredible.
Why do you think it was possible at that the meeting there, when you met a lot of different people? Of course, you don't know all of them, and then to be able to share experiences, didn't you have any perhaps a skeptical thoughts that if I share my ideas, someone would have stolen your ideas and so on?
Yeah, that's the thing, because I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs are always worried about their ideas being stolen, and over in Silicon Valley, they're totally different concept there, because to them, ideas are easy, but it's worthless until there's someone to execute those ideas. And execution of the ideas are actually the toughest part of a startup, right? Anybody can have ideas. So over there, to them, is idea is worthless. So it's basically they just have no problem talking about it. Getting input from peers, input from mentors, input from investors. So that's one of the things that really distinguishes the attitude there compared to other part of the regions.
That's very interesting point, because I guess started from the concept and the mindset, and it goes on to the culture, crafting the one culture to be able to share without any hesitations, right?
Exactly. And I think that another thing about the culture there is failure is okay. Failure is tolerated. That sometimes to the point where failure is celebrated, because to them, it's okay to fail. Just pick yourself up and start again, and continue and never give up.
Very, very optimistic, and I really love that idea. Well, let's ask to Nuraizah there. When you started your company, Nuraizah, what are the things that distracted your process to move forward? And now you have reached a lot of, establishment there. Any challenges and hindrance there on your, progress?
I guess as in any company, right? So initially we receive angel funding, but the angel funding, when we look at Malaysia's standard, is quite low compared to what they get in Silicon Valley. So we're always constantly having that I want to build my idea, and yet I need to survive on a monthly basis, right? So we're always bootstrapping all ideas and all that. So things take a little bit longer to get to market. Though we survive, but it would be great if we could actually look into having that leeway to build a product all the way to completion. So one of the things that we learned is that, initially we wanted to build the best product ever, right? So through this experience, we learned that sometimes just having an MVP, the minimum viable product, is good enough to go to market, because you still need to build your user base and all that. So if you spend 3 years building the best product in the world, and then you haven't even tested out in the market, then you've already wasted 3 years. So we learn more efficient ways to actually test the market, see what they want, and then test your ideas, to see whether people actually buy into what you think people should do.
So far, I can sense that the Madcat has been quite progressive in terms of working towards certain goals. So talking about standard, could you elaborate more on that? Which was your business model, and then to be able to learn from them, and also to be able to be progressive when it comes to the company?
In terms of business model?
Yes.
Yeah, so because we work in a traditional area where we work with telcos. So when we talk about working with telcos, it is not about how much you charge per service. It's actually how many people subscribe to that service. So we're in a, we may get only like 10 cents, 10 USD or something per person, but we're talking about a volume game. So when we look at this kind of engagement, we look at what makes people want to give you that 10 cents, and what makes people want to stay with you, because it's again a volume game. I want you to give me that amount every month for the next 4 or 5 years. Right, so it's coming out with touching the emotions of people so that they stay with you. So it's a different kind of concept. And when we work with programmers, they always tend to want to build the best app ever.
Yes,
and when we're talking about marketing, we're talking about, I just want to engage with my team or the people that's my customers. So we always have that. Like, how do we balance it? How do we still satisfy our programmers, because they're our most important asset, and yet we keep our customers engaged.
So that's another challenge for you, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a fun challenge, because sometimes some of my ideas don't work, some work. So being in an industry where it's okay, every 3 months change to something new, so it's quite a fun place to be. I would rather be here than doing anything else.
And I would like to ask both Jay and Isa as well, as what was the highlight of the 2-week trip to Stanford? Of all the events and workshops that you attended, which one you thought had the most impact on you?
Well, maybe I can. I just continue.
Sure.
I think the one that was most impactful to me was the VC sessions. When we, because I've as a woman, I'm a bit cautious about taking people's money, because I'm thinking, if I take their money, then what do I do with it? How do I give them their returns? So I'm limited by my worries. And then when I talk to the VCs, and then they explain how it actually works, how they come in because they see the potential, they come in because they want to build the company, and then there's ways that you can actually structure the deal so that you still keep control of your company. So I thought it was such a logical and such an eye-opening experience, right? That I started. As soon as I came back, I started looking for VC funding. So I've already pitched to a few people, and then I'm waiting to see what else happens next. But all this, the courage to actually go out and pitch, I think came from the Stanford experience.
So it was all about, mostly about the finance management for you, Isa.
Yeah, but also the fact that, do I really want to take somebody's money?
Right.
Yeah, because you always think that once you take somebody's money, you have to work for that money, you have to work for that person. So the passion, the vision no longer belongs to you. It belongs to whatever makes the most money out there, right? But they educated me that it's not true, because VCs will invest in the vision that you believe in, right? So they will work together with you to achieve that vision.
Right. Okay. How about Jay?
Oh, I think one of the part that I really, really value a lot is actually talking to founders in Silicon Valley itself. One of the founders that we have met, the company is called Thumbtack, and they are a local marketplace that sell local services. And when he described about the difficulties that they have went through. It was a struggle. They have struggled for multiple years to the point of they were about to run out of money, and the only way for them to not spend any money is not to, get out of the house, because their office was actually just in the house.
Right.
So it was really tough. And when you listen to that, it's like, hey, I'm not alone. It's tough. Building a startup is really, really difficult. And it's like, hey, it's just a normal part of the whole process.
Okay.
But the thing is that some of those advice that he gave, and it's just incredible, because one of the things that he said was that never run out of money, because you can have the best ideas, and if you have no money, it's just not going to work. So they continue, they struggle, and they went out and pitched to 44 startups. Everyone rejected them, and it was the last one. It was like they were so close to basically shutting down. It was the last one, the 45th visit, that believe in what they're doing and gave them the money.
Wow.
And it was like that last second, and so they got the money, and from there Google Ventures after that invested like $100 million in them. So the whole thing about the whole story here is that you just never give up. You don't give up. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. And for me, it's like I feel it, because we've gone through that, and so listening to all these stories from the founders is just something that in a way is motivating, because you know that you are not alone out there. But the most important thing is always about, like what Hans says, right? Building something that impact the world. It's not just about the money. It's about you got to really believe in what you're doing, that it's going to have a significant impact in the world. And once you do that, you love what you're doing, and the rest will take care of itself.
Well, that reminds me of, being an entrepreneur is one thing, but then to be able to contribute to the society or even community, do you consider yourself as a social entrepreneur after all?
I think it's basically, it's part of the whole process. You don't want to just build a business that's purely economic. It has to be something that has a social impact to the world, something that improve the lives of people, that that basically when user use your product, it's not just about I'm paying for a service and that's it. It has to. So the way I look at it is that it helps them, it improves their lives, it makes their life better. That to me would be the best model of business an entrepreneur can start.
Fantastic. So Jay, I'll come back to you, Isa. Just hold on there. Jay, so from the 2 weeks program at Stanford, so you've came back to Malaysia. Have you been sharing what you've learned there with your colleagues or your company, staff there?
Absolutely. I mean, basically, I actually couldn't stop talking about my experience in the Valley. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Talk to my colleague, talk about, what I've learned, and talk to, my peers, people that I meet, and basically, contribute back. I'd like to bring that concept of paying it forward to the region, to the country, because I think that it's an incredible concept that really help, where you help each other, and to move forward. So in a way, I kind of started where, without any hesitation, it's like, hey, if anything that I can help, I'll connect people without any hesitation. It's kind of like, trying to make it into a daily habit that I can. Right. Yeah.
So, has anybody told you that, hey, Jay, you've changed a lot after 2 weeks of program in Silicon or in Stanford?
Open up now, right?
That's wonderful. Yeah, how about Isa? Have you been sharing your experiences?
Yeah, definitely, because I think since I've been back, I've spoken on 5 times on stage about this trip.
Oh, wow.
Because I get invited to all kinds of groups. And also, like what Jay was saying, I'm one of the people who actually called Jay to ask him, Jay, how do you do this? Because I knew that he was an expert in that. And I forgot to ask him if he was busy, but he just right away spent like 20 minutes discussing with my team what we should do and all that. So that's the kind of culture that we're trying to create. And then when I invite people who have never been to Magic and they come there and they think that, wow, this is such a great place to be, and they all want to join in. So I think that's congratulations to Magic for creating that excitement, So
I have a question for Hans, actually. Sorry, Han. When it comes to ideas and entrepreneurship and all, do you think that the best way to do it is by solving a problem, by thinking how it can impact, does it actually make money, or do you just choose to follow your passion and follow your instincts in that matter?
I personally believe that all ventures should start from solving a particular problem that you feel passionate about. So to answer your question, it's sort of like, you need to be passionate about a problem that you want to solve, but so you need to be able to articulate well, and why do you want to solve this problem? Why is it significant to you? And who are the target audience that will be benefiting from your solutions? So it's not so much as an idea that you just thought out of the blue, but something that since the get-go, you want to go out there, find solutions that will solve that problem that you are very interested in resolving.
Right.
Yep.
So we'll take another short break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Han, Isa, and Jay.
The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas and critical opinions in Southeast Asia.
Welcome back to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. You are at the Durian Heat with Grace.
And this is Gauri.
And of course, we've been speaking with Han from Magic, who's the director, and also two participants who were there at a Stanford program for 2 weeks. Just before this break, they've shared wonderful experiences and also what they have learned, and they've carried all the way back to Malaysia. This program is Stanford program. Mention shortly about the teaching faculties, right? They are involved, and could you elaborate more on that?
It's a totally different program as compared to the E at Stanford program that both Jay and Isa went through. So the Faculty and Trained Faculty program is another program under the collaboration with Stanford University.
Right.
It's targeting the university faculty members as per the name suggests. So what the objective is for the Stanford faculty to be coaching and also giving suggestions to our Malaysian universities as to how you can teach entrepreneurship differently, or how Stanford does it in their way, and what we can adapt back in Malaysian universities so that we can increase students' interest in entrepreneurship and also encourage the entrepreneurial thinking. They might not end up being an entrepreneur when they graduate, but that's expected. But the way of thinking, the daring to challenge themselves, and also finding problems that they want to solve, all of these are part of why we have this program, so that we can inculcate this culture starting from the university level.
Right. Apart from a culture, right, Han? How about what are the differences when you you have to compare the Stanford, perhaps university outside of Malaysia, and Malaysian universities?
Yeah. So I think the main key area that I saw different as compared to comparing between local Malaysian universities, not all of them, and also with Stanford University, is that entrepreneurship is still sort of perceived sometimes as a subject that you study, and it's not something that it's not experiential learning. In a way that it's still about reading from the textbook, memorizing these terms, these definitions, or some histories, and answering questions during paper-based exams. And that's not how Stanford runs their entrepreneurship classes, because all of their classes are run without final exams, if I believe. And
so it's more practical.
Yes, and they really let the students experience through design thinking classes, prototyping using just papers and markers and all these stationaries that you find in every day, and come up with the solutions and go out to the to the school, speak to your peers and see, hey, if I come up with these solutions, would you be interested in using it? That would help you to solve a certain problem that you might be facing every day now. So we are trying to push for that to be practiced in the Malaysian universities as well.
So which are the university, if you don't mind sharing, that you are focusing in Malaysia? Because there are so many universities, both public and private.
Yes. So how we selected the universities we work with is that we open up the applications, we invite them to tell us what they have been doing in terms of encouraging entrepreneurship within their schools. So a lot of universities have already set up their entrepreneurship center, running some of the student-run activities on an annual basis. So we ended up selecting UTM, UITM, and also, yes, and also University Malaysia Kelantan UMK to work with based on their commitment level and also buy-in from their top management that this is the direction that they're going for in the next 2 to 3 years. And we are glad to share that after coming back from Stanford, UITM and UTM have successfully piloted their runs. They have included new modules such as design thinking and innovation creativity in their current curriculum, and they are currently in their pilot semester to see how it works out for the first batch of students who gets to undergo these new things that is introduced.
And then that goes for every single majors, degree program, is it?
That is the goal that we are going for, but of course for the pilot runs, it's more contained. It's only run within a few faculty within the university.
And I would like to know, in terms of the East Stanford program so far, is it running smoothly, and have you guys, has the programs been going accordingly in terms of achieving your goal?
Yeah, I would say that it has been gaining a lot of traction. As compared to the first year, we definitely received a lot more applications this year based on the good review from the first cohort. And to share some success stories, we have companies who have gone IPO since they came back from Stanford last year. Yeah. So I would say that we are definitely on par and on the way to achieving the goals.
So this whole program is to be able to train all this younger, especially young generations, to be able to think critically as well as at the regional level, right? And to be able to slowly change their mindset and be innovative at the same time. So you also have invited, the few speakers from outside of Malaysia to Malaysia, of course. So do you have any Stanford program in Malaysia as well, as in without going to a Stanford University?
Yeah, so it's the Stanford Go-to-Market program that I briefly described. For that program, it's the Stanford faculty who will be coming here to Malaysia, Cyberjaya, for 1 week to run those courses. And do you have any future plans that you would love to add, more additional plans for at Stanford? Based on, to quote one of the participants, they would like to see this program continue to run so that more and more entrepreneurs will have the access and also the opportunity to go and learn from one of the best in the world about entrepreneurship, meeting people, and we want to continue to grow this alumni, this bond that the alumni of at Stanford program has, so that the larger the group is, the more synergies they can form in between one another.
It is very noticeable to see this movement, especially in IT industry and technology industry when it comes to entrepreneurship as well as startup companies. How about the other industries, for example, creative industry?
I would say that we are not really targeting technology industry as that's the only industry we are going for. We are looking for any business in any verticals, any industries, as long as they leverage on technology to scale up their businesses. So you can be an F&B business and do food delivery, and that's leveraging IT to solve a F&B problem. So for the next coming up Stanford, at Stanford, what are the things that we can expect to apply for this 2 weeks program? I would say that the next batch will probably run 1 year from now. So, and the application, I would believe that it would be much stronger in terms of the number of applications that we will receive. For this year, we received over 150 applications, and from that we cut it down to about half 70 to come in to pitch to us face to face, and from there we only selected 22 startups. And so next year, I think with the good reviews that we have been getting, a lot more entrepreneurs will definitely be fighting for the limited spots that we have for the program.
Right, wonderful. Then for Isa and Hans, Isa and Jay, you toured out of all these 22 selected participants for this program, right? So when you went there, how did you feel about the whole environment? And of course, you've already shared your experiences there, but then what are the expectations that you carried to Stanford University?
I know, like when I went, I wasn't sure what, because it's going back to school, you're so old, going back to school, I thought, okay, let's give it a try. But then when you're actually there and then you meet, because they are like, I guess the difference between Malaysian lecturers and Stanford is just that they write best-selling books, so they're not just people who teach theory, but they've actually, written about their ideas. People believe in them. People actually pay for their books, and then they come in and they talk to you about this is why I think this is the way to run your company and all this stuff, and then you're actually meeting them. So it's such an amazing experience.
So
just
it was
to see
more
them
engaging than you expected.
Yeah, definitely, and I guess the sharing part where because after the at Stanford courses, I actually went and attended all the other networking sessions that were happening in that area, because you could just find out and then jump in, just pay $5 or $25 and attend the session, and then you get to meet the guy who designed the Google Glass, and he's just sitting like 5 feet in front of you, so it was like it's amazing, right? I was like, so this is the kind of thing that we would like to do in Malaysia, so that because you meet so many young entrepreneurs who are struggling or have an idea, and then just having someone to talk to will really help them, I think. And it will help grow the industry. So this is what, to the point that nowadays it's so hard to find programmers because everybody wants to do their own startup.
Yes,
I actually need people to work for me. So that's the dilemma we're having right now.
Yeah, and at the same time, being your own boss is not an easy job at all.
And yeah. So I was like, it was an interesting conversation I just had with VC, because he said that if we come in, we might select our own CEO and our own CFO. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I can go shopping. It's no problem. I'll just give him the ideas and then somebody does the work. It's great.
How about you, Jay?
Well, when I first got to Silicon Valley, it was great, because I thought, wow, going to one of the premier school in the world, and then it turns out that it's even better than what I expected, right? Because you are able to meet people that in most time, I would say I will never be able to meet in person. We are able to meet with people that even considered to be, founders of Silicon Valley itself, and to be able to, talk to them and in one place and ask them for advice, ask them for, kind of like, hey, what do you think about, what we're doing and all this stuff, and be able to, get that input from them is just incredible. But I think one of the most important things that that I've learned is that we have an incredible team of the whole group that went to Stanford, and Silicon Valley, because it turns out that even when we are back here, we are close. We keep in contact. We have a very, very active group, WhatsApp group.
Wow.
It's incredible, and we keep in touch. We share and we help each other. And I think that is one of the biggest take back that I feel that from just being there and coming back, and it still continues. It's just not where, like, going to a vacation tour, you meet a group of people and come back and that's it, you don't ever meet these people again. But it's different, right? Over here, it's like we keep in touch, and I hope that we are able to build from there and expand the group out and reach out to more entrepreneurs in Malaysia, in the region. I think that's one of my biggest takeaway,
That's
bringing that culture back.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, community one after the other. You expand your own group, started from the 22 people, and then you never know what you can expect from this. And then keeping in touch after this 2 weeks program. I think that's very important to be able to share and then let people listen what you guys experienced. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. And I hope that this group and the previous group and together with Magic,
right.
we hope that we can really get this culture going in the region, in Malaysia, and get more people involved. I think that's the important part.
Right. So for our listeners out there, please do join the next year's program at Stanford and look for Magic, and you can visit their website. And you've just listened to amazing stories from two participants as well as the director from the Magic, who is Han. So thank you so much, guys, for joining our conversation this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
All the best.
All right,
Thank you.